Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 origin continent based on novel. So let's start. Teacher, the Sha Kingdom now has 5 godly kings. Luo Feng looked at the mountain-sitting guest. Do we only need to kill 3? The mountain-sitting guest nodded. Only those 3 earliest rulers who are blood enemies of mine, the Emperor of Tian Kuan, the Wuxiang ancestor, and the ancestor of Blade Demon, matter to me. Eliminating those 3 will suffice. Luo Feng nodded. The 3 earliest rulers of the Sha Kingdom were the closest of friends, with the Emperor of Tian Kuan still in the first realm of Godly King. They ventured together in the land of origin, and all 3 were sinners of the highest order. On the other hand, the 2 who came later were much less sinful. The Kufeng God King was invited to join by the Emperor of Tian Kuan, because of his proficiency in the life origin and clone techniques, capable of dealing with many matters. He was a hard-working and uncomplaining character, who exchanged his services for some resources. The Liu God King, similar to the mountain-sitting guest, was once the ruler of a small edge country, the Liu country. As the Sha Kingdom invaded its surroundings and approached the Liu country, the Liu country master didn't wait to be attacked and offered allegiance. It gave the Sha Kingdom no reason for conflict. Among the 5 godly kings of the Sha Kingdom, she was the least noticeable and held the lowest status, but at least she preserved her people. Do we need to have a talk with them before killing them? Luo Feng asked again. No need, the mountain-sitting guest shook his head. There's nothing to talk about. The more we talk, the more likely accidents will happen. I just want them completely dead. Luo Feng nodded and stood up. Then let's set out now. Make sure you are well prepared and try to keep both ancient countries from discovering your identity. The mountain-sitting guest stood up and reminded him. Don't worry. A black robe spread across Luo Feng's body, a golden mask appeared on his face, and his hair grew much longer. His aura became dark and profound, yet filled with great terror. He was mimicking the formless and intangible to resemble the memory of that vast eye from his dreams. Luo Feng studied that vast eye deeply and even created the Great Extinction style based on it. Although the mimicry fell far short of the dream memory, it still instinctively struck fear into the mountain-sitting guest beside him. It was like a lower-level creature encountering a higher-dimension being, feeling instinctive fear. With this appearance, there should be few who can guess my identity, Luo Feng smiled. Your aura is even more terrifying than in your true form, the mountain-sitting guest couldn't help saying. I've seen the monarch of the Thunder ancient country, who cultivates the primordial bloodline with a terrifying aura. But it seems they're nothing compared to you. Luo Feng smiled. His true form's aura was comparable to emperors and monarchs, and naturally even more terrifying when mimicking the vast eye. An existence like this, it's only right to easily and completely kill the 3 rulers of the Sha Kingdom, Luo Feng said. Let's go. The mountain-sitting guest watched his disciple and nodded slightly. His emotions were tumultuous. On the one hand, he had waited too long for revenge. On the other, his disciple had now exceeded his expectations. After all, the earth was cultivated by humans after the mountain-sitting guest had reformed the environment. Luo Feng was like the child he raised, step by step cultivating to this day, guided by the Star Tower, the 9-volume manual, and the Lai Yuan technique. He watched Luo Feng grow, but now he was somewhat incomprehensible. This made the mountain-sitting guest feel a sense of fulfillment. Whoosh! The mountain-sitting guest's body had golden liquid flowing, and his aura strangely disappeared entirely. Under the flow of the golden liquid, the mountain-sitting guest reverted to his appearance from the primordial cosmos region. This is a golden armored puppet I refined. It barely has the strength of a godly king, the mountain-sitting guest said. My true body is hidden within the puppet. The visible puppet has no life aura whatsoever. Luo Feng nodded. Most formidable godly kings have ways to hide their aura, like when traveling to the dream domain, they conceal their identity. However, the hiding technique of his teacher, the mountain-sitting guest, was quite special. He walked with a puppet's body outside, while his true body was utterly concealed. Teacher's artifact refining skills are indeed formidable. Then let's set out now. Luo Feng immediately took the mountain-sitting guest and quietly left Huyang City, arriving at the royal capital of the Shi Kingdom in a blink. Above the royal capital of the Shi Kingdom, Luo Feng and the mountain-sitting guest looked down upon the vast city. Luo Feng was puzzled. "What's wrong?" the mountain-sitting guest asked, confused. "The true body of the Emperor of Tianquan is not in the royal capital," Luo Feng said with a furrowed brow. Luo Feng came this time as a world life form in his true body, also carrying the secret treasure Star Tower. The world life form's inner world was solidified by the life lotus, making it tremendously powerful. It could reflect the outside world, even capturing vast external regions entirely into its inner world and imprisoning them. Using his inner world's outward sensibility, Luo Feng could confirm that the entire royal capital had no sufficiently powerful creatures, just a Kufan God King avatar. Furthermore, the Star Tower possessed the abilities to capture, suppress, and seal enemies. Luo Feng, utilizing the Star Tower to feel around, also did not detect any strong auras. For Luo Feng at this point, ordinary godly kings were no longer considered strong auras. "I've already locked onto the Wuxiang ancestor and the ancestor of Blade Demon with my avatars, ready to strike at any moment," Luo Feng said, "but the location of the Emperor of Tianquan is currently undetermined. What shall we do if he has entered some treasure land for cultivation, and might stay for a long time?" the mountain-sitting guest asked. Luo Feng shook his head. "I've always been subscribing to information about some of the most powerful beings in the land of origin, including regular updates on the Emperor of Tianquan. According to information from the Flame Wind Pavilion, since the last time the Emperor of Tianquan's true body was destroyed and he recovered it using a resurrection carrier, he has been nurturing the primordial bloodline. During the period of nurturing the primordial bloodline, he hasn't gone to any treasure land." The mountain-sitting guest nodded. "As long as he doesn't go to the treasured land, he must eventually return, and we'll just wait for him in the royal capital," Luo Feng said. "We have no other choice," the mountain-sitting guest nodded. Flame Wind Ancient Country, Yang Capital. Emperor Di Yang sat there, tasting the delicacies in front of him and exclaimed, "Tianquan, when it comes to culinary artistry, only a few in the land of origin can match you. Your understanding of ingredients is unique, enabling you to bring out their naturally wonderful flavors. With the various top-notch ingredients prepared by the Emperor, I was able to make these dishes," the Emperor of Tianquan said with a hearty laugh, showing humility, "and these ingredients have also enhanced my understanding of the primordial bloodline and benefited my cultivation. I should be the one thanking the Emperor for giving me this opportunity." Emperor Di Yang glanced at the Emperor of Tianquan. He was very fond of the Emperor of Tianquan, who was very obedient, always finding ways to please him. The most important thing was, the culinary creations of the Emperor of Tianquan very much suited Emperor Di Yang's palate. The Emperor of Tianquan followed the origin Tao of matter, studying the various materials in the world, even elevating the concept of deliciousness to an unimaginable level. After cultivating the primordial bloodline, he even tried to use the flesh and blood of primordial bloodline creatures as ingredients, making the dishes even more astounding. The royal family of Flame Wind Ancient Country enjoyed such luxurious pleasures. After all, the supreme delicacies of the land of origin were considered of the godly king tier in terms of culinary standards. This also enabled the Emperor of Tianquan to form good relationships with many godly kings of the royal family. "You've been cooking for me for an era now. Tell me, what do you need my help with?" Emperor Di Yang smiled at Tianquan. Tianquan had a good habit of serving Emperor Di Yang. He never actively set conditions. He always sincerely served until Emperor Di Yang himself would inquire, and that's when Tianquan would speak up. "Your Majesty is also aware that there are some troublesome powers surrounding my Shi Kingdom," the master of the Shi Kingdom said with a smile. "The Yushui country master of Yu Kingdom and the Luohe God King of Huyang City have formed an alliance. Now my Shi Kingdom can only target the neighboring second-rate nation, Cold Forest Country. The Cold Forest Country Lord is just an ordinary second-realm godly king, inferior to me. However, Cold Forest Country has a special relationship with Tianmu Kingdom. The Shi Kingdom had taken over its surroundings as much as it could. What remained were only Yu Kingdom and Cold Forest Country. Yu Kingdom seemed easy to bully, but who would have anticipated Luo Feng? Now that Luo Feng had become a second realm godly king, the Shi Kingdom completely abandoned the thought, suspecting, not even with 10 of Luo Feng's clones combined would he be able to defeat him. Cold Forest Country. Emperor Di Yang nodded. All right then, you go back and prepare. Once everything is ready, I'll send Yanxiu God King with you. With Yanxiu God King's involvement, I believe Tianmu Kingdom will not dare to interfere. Emperor Di Yang, as the first emperor of Flame Wind Ancient Country, also had quite a number of powerful followers. Aside from Emperor Di Yang, there were 2 second realm godly kings in the royal family, namely Di Yanxiu and Di Yanxiu. Di Yanxiu, more ambitious, had used the ultimate realm-level primordial bloodline in an attempt to break through to emperor, but fell short in strength, resulting in a semi-uncontrolled state. He was currently imprisoned in a small world and required a formation to maintain clarity. According to the rules of Flame Wind Ancient Country, unless absolutely clear-headed, one would not be released. If he were in Thunder Ancient Country, where a semi-uncontrolled individual, during their lucid phase, was willing to leave only to be confined again upon losing control. Di Yanxiu, with the supply of numerous resources, had become the strongest godly king under Emperor Di Yang. With Yanxiu God King stepping in, even Tianmu Kingdom with all its courage would hold back. The master of the Shi Kingdom rejoiced. Emperor Di Yang nodded slightly. Sir, the Novelier.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The master of the Shi Kingdom left Flame Wind Ancient Country and returned to the Shi Kingdom. It's good that Yanxiu God King can assist. The master of the Shi Kingdom was very satisfied with his gains. He had served Emperor Di Yang for too long, and was very clear about Di Yang's temperament. He was currently nurturing his inner primordial bloodline, and if he were to request treasures for nurturing the bloodline, Emperor Di Yang would likely turn hostile. After all, Emperor Di Yang was also poor. Aside from Emperor Qing, the 12 emperors all owed massive debts to the imperial clan. They even tried to raise their debts to the limit permitted by the royal family, borrowing all sorts of treasures for their own use, which is why they each had powerful secret treasures. As for repaying their debts, they would pay back slowly. If I could devour Cold Forest Country, I could consume 1/3 of its creatures. The remaining creatures can still slowly reproduce and provide a sustainable nourishment for my cultivation, the master of the Shi Kingdom thought. 1/3 of the creatures of Cold Forest Country would be enough to restore most of the strength of my primordial bloodline. Some portions of the primordial bloodline could be enhanced by consuming creatures. The countless creatures birthed within the source world, each one an aggregation of the essence of heaven and earth, provided great nourishment to the primordial bloodline. Phew. The master of the Shi Kingdom leisurely returned to the royal capital. In an unremarkable cave mansion in the royal capital, Luo Feng and the mountain-sitting guests sat opposite each other, leisurely discussing artifact refining skills. Huh. Luo Feng's expression shifted. The mountain-sitting guest looked at Luo Feng. Master of the Shi Kingdom has returned, Luo Feng said. The mountain-sitting guest's eyes brightened. Royal capital, deep within the palace. Sigh. Emperor of Tian Kuan arrived and sat on the grand throne in the enormous hall. Yi Xiu, prepare a large portion of food. Emperor of Tian Kuan immediately issued an order through telepathy. Having served Di Yang for an era, he dared not be distracted by devouring countless creatures, and had long held back his hunger fiercely. Yes, my lord. Soon, Emperor of Tian Kuan's most loyal subordinate, Yi Xiu Great Saint, presented the prepared food in a transparent bottle, imprisoning billions of creatures. As a cultivator in the primal chaos realm, and due to his unwavering loyalty and meticulous work, the task of harvesting countless creatures regularly was handled by Yi Xiu Great Saint. He led a secret army specialized in capturing countless creatures. My lord, a large portion of food includes about 3,000 eternal true gods, 50 million true gods of void space, 50 trillion true gods, and 30 trillion lesser beings not yet at the true god level, all within this food bottle, Yi Xiu Great Saint respectfully reported. Emperor of Tien Kuan looked at the over 80 billion creatures inside the transparent bottle, nodding with satisfaction. Even ruling the vast Sha kingdom, accumulating such a large portion of food was not easy. The tribes of the Sha kingdom lived in the wilderness, hiding in the most secluded places, and the eternal true gods were often the core backbone of many large cities. Capturing such a massive scale, even covertly throughout the entire range of the Sha kingdom, was no easy task. Very well. Emperor of Tien Kuan looked at the transparent bottle, and felt the primordial bloodline within him boiling, craving for the countless lives. Yet the over 80 billion creatures inside the bottle had no idea that a terrifying existence outside was about to utterly devour them. Emperor of Tien Kuan reached out and grabbed the bottle, suddenly. Emperor of Tien Kuan felt everything before his eyes disappear. He lost all physical senses, only seeing a vast and enormous constellation forming. This massive constellation was spinning. He could see every process, but he had no way to dodge. It seemed slow, yet it was so fast it was merely a momentary flicker of the spirit. A flicker of the spirit, impossible to evade, too late to use the reincarnation secret technique. All he could do was take it head on. Survive and he lives. Fail and he dies. This rolling constellation was terrifyingly formidable, even more so than Di Yang whom he served. It was the most terrifying force Emperor of Tien Kuan had seen in his long years. He hadn't even begun to defend when he intuitively knew he couldn't block it. No. The constellation rolled, crushing over his spiritual will. His spiritual will was instantly crushed to dust, and under the sweeping roll of the constellation, not even a trace was left. In an instant, his spiritual will was completely annihilated. A dominant figure on the land of origin, the renowned Emperor of Tien Kuan, was now just a corpse. He was dead. His death was so sudden, so utterly without the capability to resist. Sir the Novelia.ne*t website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Inside this enormous hall, the Emperor of Tien Kuan still sat there, reaching out to grab the transparent bottle. However, the fervor in his eyes had completely faded, leaving them utterly dull. Boom tilde tilde tilde, the moment he died, the Emperor of Tien Kuan's body naturally began to reveal its true form. Sigh. An invisible wave swept over, collecting the bodies of the Emperor of Tien Kuan, Yixiu Great Saint, and the transparent bottle. Under Luo Feng's terrifying spiritual will, even a slight involvement completely obliterated Yixiu Great Saint's spiritual consciousness. Firstly, allowing Yixiu to live and witness the death of the Emperor of Tien Kuan might enable outsiders to deduce a lot of information. Secondly, as a minion of the Emperor of Tien Kuan, who had long been capturing countless creatures, Luo Feng felt no mercy. Although the Emperor of Tien Kuan was not as mad as the ancestral god of the Snow Realm, he ruled over a much broader Sha kingdom, and the number of creatures who died by his hand is probably far more than those who perished under the ancestral god. The 80 billion plus creatures in that transparent bottle made Luo Feng more aware of how much catastrophe peaking beings from the land of origin could cause once they turn malevolent. The stronger the power, even if only harvesting a small portion within their dominion, the numbers could be many times those of the ancestral god. My current strength already allows me to change parts of the land of origin. Of course, for now, I can only change a part. To completely change it, to establish my own rules, I need to be even stronger. Luo Feng knew this path was difficult, because under the limit of the supreme rules, the might of maneuvers had an upper limit in the ultimate realm. Even with his own formidable powers, he couldn't exceed this limit, meaning his impact on emperors and monarchs was limited. Emperors and monarchs decided the order of the entire land of origin. To alter the order of the land of origin, many of the emperors and monarchs from the two ancient countries might not tolerate it. Cultivators, with their own power, surpass heaven and earth. To change the fates of countless creatures in the land of origin is part of my cultivation. If I cannot even achieve this, how can I talk about surpassing heaven and earth? Seeing the 80 billion plus creatures in the transparent bottle, and witnessing the various darknesses in his travels around the land of origin, Luo Feng's resolve was unbreakable. He was not strong enough yet, so he temporarily hid his claws. Once strong enough, he would reveal his claws and tear through this veil of darkness. Wuxiang City and Sword Demon City in Shi Kingdom were attacked simultaneously. To ensure the killing of the Emperor of Tiankuan was foolproof, Luo Feng first concentrated all his efforts against the Emperor of Tiankuan. After all, the other two Wuxiang ancestors, and ancestor of Blade Demon, were only at the first realm of Godly King, and even using the curse-killing technique, Luo Feng was confident he could annihilate them. The moment the Emperor of Tiankuan died, Luo Feng's two other avatars acted simultaneously. Wuxiang ancestor, an ancestor of Blade Demon, had no time to react, instantly dying without resistance under Luo Feng's terrifying spiritual will. Collect. Luo Feng also took the bodies of these two godly kings. Asterisk 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 asterisk. In Huyang City, within the quiet room of the city owner's mansion, Star Tower. Luo Feng and Mountain Sitting Guest both came to one of the layers in Star Tower, where the true bodies of the three rulers from Shi Kingdom were laid out, all of their bodies intact, but their spiritual consciousnesses completely annihilated. They are dead, Mountain Sitting Guest observed the bodies carefully. The body of the Emperor of Tiankuan was immensely vast, hundreds of millions of kilometers in length, with tough, thick-scale armor. He cultivated the origin Tao of matter, tapping into the potential of the primordial bloodline, making his body far tougher and more terrifying than Luo Feng's early 10 directions world form world life body, normally giving him enough time to use the reincarnation secret technique even if emperors and monarchs attacked. But this time, he couldn't reincarnate. No matter how strong his physical body was, it couldn't help him against a technique aimed wholly at the spiritual will. Only reaching the ultimate realm life form and achieving perfection could he resist some attacks on spiritual will. As for the God King grade secret treasure, the Emperor of Tiankuan had no power to obtain it. In the land of origin, there were not many such secret treasures, and lacking the power to possess such treasures, one would only invite disaster. With strength like that of Emperor Gui Shu, owning such treasures in his previous life had brought great calamity. He had not reached the ultimate realm life form, had not resisted the God King grade secret treasure of spiritual will, he was utterly no match for Luo Feng. Will beyond God King level, and then activate the Lai Yuan technique again. None of them managed to reincarnate. Mountain Sitting Guest couldn't help but ask, Tiankuan, not in time either. I am sure. Luo Feng nodded, the moment I used the secret technique of willpower, he died. He simply had no time to reincarnate. Secret technique of willpower. Mountain Sitting Guest nodded slightly, Luo Feng had not concealed it from him. The willpower displayed was indeed vast and mighty, and felt as though it could crush the godly kings with the slightest pressure. Indeed, indeed. Mountain Sitting Guest, touching the scale armor of the massive corpse of the Emperor of Tiankuan, then looked toward the corpses of the Wuxiang ancestor, and the ancestor of Blade Demon beside. At this moment, Mountain Sitting Guest seemed to see those familiar figures. Ah Jin. Sister. The once young boy, seeing the dazzling genius sister in his sect for the first time, was nervous and tense. Ah Jin, Master has ordered, from now on, you will follow me. I will teach you on behalf of Master. Okay. Ah Jin, you've reached primal chaos realm. Even faster than me. Sister, would you like to walk the path of cultivation with me? The youth, now a primal chaos realm, voiced the desire he had harbored for long. Sister smiled happily, nodding through tears, from now on, we walk the cultivation path together. Jin's state was established. Although it was a third-rate frontier small state, it was still an unprecedented achievement for the entire sect. God King Jin, with his artifact refining skills, also became famed all around. Our Jin has become the monarch, Sister said proudly, you have already surpassed all the predecessors of the sect. God King Jin smiled slightly. He needed to become even stronger, walk further in the path of cultivation with Sister, and lead the younger brothers and sisters and the sect further. Mountain Sitting Guest faintly saw those familiar figures, his brothers and sisters who admired him immensely, the love of his lifetime. It was the world that haunted his dreams. I've taken revenge, I've avenged you all, Mountain Sitting Guest whispered softly. Fled into the universe ocean. With endless hatred and reluctance, he entered the depths of the universe ocean. Forced to reincarnate within the primordial cosmos. The long years. Until today. Mountain sitting guest, looking at the three massive corpses before him, suddenly felt a bit dazed. The goal he had always pursued was completed, yet he didn't know how to proceed. How I wish I could return to the past, mountain sitting guest said in the moment of successful revenge, not feeling the satisfaction of avenging a great wrong, but an endless nostalgia instead. Luo Feng silently watched from the side. He felt the surge and changes of emotions in his master. Even his master's powerful spiritual will needed time to adapt. Finally, mountain sitting guest calmed completely. He turned his head to look at Luo Feng. Luo Feng, thank you, mountain sitting guest smiled faintly. At this moment, I am without regrets. Teacher, you have helped me immensely. It is I who should say thank you, Luo Feng said. Mountain sitting guest pointed to the three massive corpses. Forget about the other two, but the Emperor of Tianquan had a renowned reputation. His sudden death will definitely attract the attention and investigation of major powers. These three corpses must be destroyed utterly, otherwise they could reveal much information from being examined. I know, Luo Feng nodded, these three corpses will not appear from Star Tower again. Killing felt satisfying, but there will be a lot of investigation afterward. Especially since the Emperor of Tianquan and several emperors of the flame-wind ancient country have very good relations. You must be careful, mountain sitting guest advised. I'm all prepared, Luo Feng nodded. You now far surpass my strength, and your considerations are definitely more meticulous than mine. Mountain sitting guest smiled and nodded. Well, I should leave now. Teacher, are you going back? Back to Thunder ancient country? Luo Feng asked. From now on, I will focus on studying artifact refining and primordial bloodline, living my own peaceful days. Mountain sitting guest looked at Luo Feng. If you ever need anything, just let me know. Okay, Luo Feng nodded, I'll see you out. Luo Feng personally escorted mountain sitting guest out of Star Tower, even to the border of Thunder ancient country, then watched as mountain sitting guest left. Teacher, Luo Feng sensed mountain sitting guest's change. The past mountain sitting guest always harbored a strong spiritual obsession, but today, that obsession was gone, he had completely let go. This grand causality had entangled the teacher for countless years. This major causality had also shaped himself. Teacher, I hope you enjoy your days ahead, Luo Feng silently said. He also decided, unless necessary, not to disturb the teacher's peaceful days anymore. This video will end here.